Hello, friends. It's the Carnivore Rabbi. We're here, as always, to meet, pray, and love. And you'll notice I'm wearing a suit and a tie, which is not unusual, but the reason I'm wearing it right now is I conducted a funeral just a couple hours ago, and the funeral was for somebody who was 103 years old, which is, of course, remarkable. And it got me thinking about the relationship between carnivore diet and longevity and aging, and how there are so many myths around aging. And the carnivore diet and the research being done right now can really clear some of these up. And one of the reasons I follow this way of eating is because I want to live a long, healthy, happy, prosperous life, which this person who passed away did. It was a reminder to me of how important this one life is and what we can do with it. And I think that's the reason many of us embrace this carnivore way of eating, because we want to be there. We want to get the most out of life. We want to live a long, healthy, happy life. The first myth that we often hear is that eating meat will shorten your life. It's unhealthy, that the key to longevity is a plant-based diet. We hear that a lot. In fact, there's a longevity center here in Chicago at Northwestern University, and they talk about a plant-based diet, unfortunately. I don't know much about it. I'm sure there's more than that. But that's just wrong. The fact is, meat has so many nutrients that we can't get elsewhere that are critical for health later in life. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. This isn't medical advice. There are many people, Dr. Chafee, Dr. Berry, who talk about this extensively. But I want to keep it simple. And the simple way to think about this is, do you feel younger? Do you look younger when you're on the carnivore diet? I can tell you I do. In fact, at this funeral, I saw some people I haven't seen since 2007. And I looked really young back then. I looked like a baby. And of course, I've aged since then. But they said, you look exactly the same. Couples I haven't seen in 10 years tell me that I am aging in reverse. And this is only, I never used to get any comments like that. This is only since I embraced the carnivore diet. Do you feel better? When you feel better and you feel younger and you look younger, that seems to be suggesting that this is having a positive effect on the aging process. Again, the science is the science, and we can talk about that with people who know and research much more than I do. But I like to keep it simple with common sense. And the common sense suggests to me that when you are eating meat and you are feeling better, you are helping yourself live a longer, healthier, happier life. Just think of all the people on YouTube who've talked about this, who feel like they're getting more out of life. They're putting more life into their years. And when you are active, when you are engaged, you feel better. And it's what my grandpa used to say: if you want to get something done, give it to a busy man. That we actually get more done and we feel more vibrant when we're doing more, when we're engaging more with life. And carnivore opens that up for us. The second thing that thinking about aging, sparked in me is a discussion we often hear. The hunter-gatherers, who were the original carnivores. People say, oh, the hunter-gatherers didn't live very long lives. They all died at age 30. Remember, the average lifespan was 30 years. That's a totally misguided way of looking at the statistics. Yes, the average lifespan was significantly less for hunter-gatherers, but that's because many more babies, infants, died in infancy. Their infant mortality rate was much higher than ours is today. Thank God ours is lower today, but that's because of certain modern medicines and antibiotics that they simply didn't have access to. But if you made it past younger years and into teenage years, then the hunter-gatherers lived just about as long lives as we do now. Plenty lived into their 70s, 80s. The average lifespan was lower because so many more were lost in infancy. But arguably, hunter-gatherers were even healthier than we are later in life. They had straighter teeth. They had better posture. They were more muscular. They didn't have the same kind of body issues and falling issues that we have. Now, we can't know this for sure. Obviously, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist researching this. But The natural human lifespan, according to many, is 120 years. In fact, that's biblical. How long did Moses live? In Judaism, when we honor somebody who has a birthday, we say Ad Mea Ve'esrim, which means may you live to 120. That number doesn't come from nowhere. In fact, in insurance, the lifespan that insurers use is 121 years. So if you are still alive at 121 and you have life insurance that's supposed to pay out on your death, it'll actually pay you at age 121 if you live to it. There's something to the natural human lifespan of 120. And I think that if you live a truly healthy life, which is virtually impossible today, there's so many toxins in the air, there's our water, it's very difficult to live the kind of totally natural way of life that would lead someone to make it to 120. But it certainly is possible. And I think when we embrace the carnivore diet, we get closer to that. We are more likely to live longer, healthier lives. Not just longer, but in the Torah, it says Moses, when he died at 120, it says his eyes were undimmed and his vigor unabated. In other words, he was strong. Now, plenty of people suffer at the end of life. I visit with many of them, and it's tremendously hard. And oftentimes, it's not our fault. We weren't raised with carnivore. People get diseases for a variety of reasons, so not everything is in our control. But shouldn't we focus on what's in our control? Shouldn't we embrace a healthy way of eating so that we can get the most out of our lives? That's what I was reminded of today. And that's what I hope each of us can embrace as we study and live the carnivore way of life.